What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Frody. Imagine you had to go to climb a mountain, and after countless attempts, falls, slips, hurt, heartache, you finally made it to the top of the mountain, and you feel elated, accomplished, excited, and you exhale. Then you breathe in the thin, fresh air at the top of the mountain. As you begin to scan the view, you realize deep down in the distance, there are several more mountains to go. Some of them are taller, some of them are bigger. And for a brief moment, you allow yourself to wonder, oh man, I wonder what the views from these mountains, how much better, how much more beautiful the views from these mountains are. And right when you're thinking this out loud, you hear a voice that comes out of nowhere that says, yeah, you don't really need to go there. You know what I'm saying? You climb this mountain. Once you climb one mountain, you climb them all. Then you turn around and you realize there's this person there who's enjoying the view along with you. You begin to wonder, where the hell did they come from? Right? And they start telling you, say, look, check this out, man. You know, remember how hard it was climbing up here. Remember how arduous it was, how heartbreaking it was to climb up it. Do you really want to do that again? You don't even have to answer this question. I want you to take a moment and pause. Yeah, that's right. Take a deep breath. Take several deep breaths. Look around. Take in this scenic, picturesque view. Feel the tranquility, the serenity, the peace of being on the top of this mountain. Stay there for a little bit. Enjoy it just a little bit more. Then you allow yourself to think about it, and the more you think about it, you say, yeah, you're right. I mean, I just got here. I might as well just hang out there just a little bit more. And then before you know it, you've been here for 6 months on the top of the same mountain. And that person that just successfully swindled you, that was your ego. When you think about it, life is nothing but a series of us climbing mountains, coming down to climb bigger mountains, coming down to climb bigger mountains, so forth and so on. So if the mountains represent, various, goals or pursuits, reaching the peak of the mountain means that we would have succeeded in some of these endeavors. And success brings about recognition, praise, celebration, adulation, so forth and so on. And guess what? The ego lives to be praised, celebrated, adulated, recognized, and all of those things. So when you think about it, once you reach a peak of a mountain, the ego has a vested interest to persuade us to stay there and dissuade us from going down, because to go down from one peak, right, means that you would have to go chase something else, to go do something else. Being on top of the mountain is comfortable. Leaving the peak of the mountain to climb down just to go climb another mountain, there's discomfort there. And chasing a new goal, chasing something new, pursuing something new comes with, risk, comes with fear, comes with uncertainty. And the ego's job is to essentially satisfy itself at the expense of us and everybody else. Ego is there to essentially tell us what we want to hear when we want to hear it. So of course, when you're at the top of the mountain, you looking in the distance, you say, oh my God, that's a big mountain. The ego is going to say, you don't really want to do that. It's comfortable up here. You should stay here. In other words, the ego is the enemy of our growth because it thrives from success of years past. One of its main job is to keep us comfortable, keep us stagnant, right? And interesting because I remember a few years ago watching an interview with Jamie Foxx where he was talking about winning the Oscars. And I remember him mentioning how the statue itself has never been to his house. Since that Oscar night, the statue has always lived at his manager's house. And I remember him sharing the reason why he did that was because he didn't want to come down, wake up every day and be reminded of this great achievement, because he knew, one, that would lead to some level of complacency. But more importantly, he didn't want to believe his own hype. He didn't want to become big-headed. And it's interesting because, buying into your own hype is something that I've fallen victim to, especially professionally. See, as an educator, I've always been successful in the sense that my students have always performed very well. And it got to a point where, I've developed a reputation for having the highest passing rate, not only in my school building, but in the entire network. So you can imagine the kind of celebration, recognition, praise that came with this specific, achievement. And it got to a point, I remember my third year specifically, my average was a 92%, meaning that if I had 100 students in my class, 92% of them passed not only the classwork, but also all of their exams. And you know, listen,
You couldn't tell me nothing.
I was walking around that building like I owned it. In my mind, I was the best teacher there ever was. And that mindset informed my thoughts, which informed my feelings, which informed my actions. I would be in professional development looking indignant like, why am I even here? I got a 92% passing rate. We have a coaching meeting? Am I going to be running the coaching meeting? Because clearly I need to be running the coaching meeting. You know, I don't need coaching. The mother bum ass teachers need coaching, not me. And it's very interesting because in that process, I became so fixated with this 92% passing rate thing that, you know, I found myself being closed off to new ideas, coaching, feedback, learning. And the ego was like,
You don't need to learn. You got this. You know?
I found myself becoming a bit more averse to trying new things, a bit more averse to taking risks. And the reason is because, well, I know what I did got me 92%. I don't want to do something else. Trying something else means I would have to leave my comfort zone, and I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. And it was very interesting because I'm so grateful for the fact that I came across this book at the time that I did, because in retrospect, I was literally on a fast track to stagnation. I was on a fast track to stagnation. And it's one thing that, you know, Ryan Holiday talks about. He says the ego repulses, you know, advantages and opportunities. And I remembered my attitude, although I didn't come out and say it, but you could really sense it. I walked around with an air of superiority and arrogance that, you know, would definitely have, you know, repulse any opportunities for me to do other things because, well, who want to work with somebody who think they know it all? Person who believes he knows it all, there's nothing for that person to learn. If I thought that I reached the top, where else is there to go except for down? One of the best antidotes to ensuring that the ego does not get out of control is leave the comfort zone. 2, try new things. Trying something new that you're not good at, there's a level of humility that comes with that because you have to submit to the new process, submit to learning, submit to the people who are teaching you. And that's one of the best ways to ensure that the ego does not get out of hand, because the ego thrives in comfort and dies in discomfort.